Lost City with Brad Wright. We say goodbye to Dawn in this one as a regular. Jessica Steen comes in as Weir. We spend some money in this episode, and Darren with Gate World. I told him what we were going to be discussing, and he said he wanted to ask about, and we've discussed this a little, but I wanted to take one final pass as we move through this season. He says Lost season ended up one of the
Lost City, yeah.
Yep. Lost City ended up one of the best stories the show ever told. And we know it was originally slated for a movie after season 6. You guys have been percolating the movie idea.
We pitched it to MGM as a movie, yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember about these original plans to make a feature film that bridged full circle with an Atlantis show that was going to be set on Earth? Because there were script pages that had the ending with Atlantis launching into space from millions.
Now that by the way, that was the image. That was the image that Brad walked in with. Was let's see, what if the Lost City of Atlantis was a alien spaceship that then rose up out of the ocean as our big set piece.
Wow!
And originally, like Darren mentioned, it was on Earth, right? It was not.
Yes.
Not in the Pegasus Galaxy. The story goes, I may have told this before, I don't quite remember, but Brad and I were told that Sci-Fi had wanted to order a spin-off show, and we conceived of Atlantis. We had sort of roughly filled in that thing, and an executive who was sort of the top of the NBC Universal television channels at the time, which is now actually much more important. Her name is Bonnie Hammer. She flew up to Vancouver and came and sat in our offices for a change so that we could pitch her the concept for Atlantis. And we pitched out the Lost City story because originally it was, like I said, going to be a movie. We kind of pitched the whole thing out to her. We kind of had some inkling that it was probably going to happen no matter what we said, that this was maybe a bit of a formality. Anyway, she's like, oh yeah, that's great. And we said, and then Lost City would be the transition from SG-1 to Atlantis. And she was like, oh, no, we're going to do both. And that was the first time we heard that. Like, we were both like, what? Like, we had talked all about essentially ending SG-1 at the end of season 7. Rick had been talking about really, time to move on, enough of O'Neill, that type of thing. And so then all that just threw us all for a loop, and we had to figure out, how do we do 2 shows at one time? The conversations with RDA opened about him coming back in some more limited capacity. We realized that we couldn't do the show properly with him part-time and still the leader of SG-1, so we figured out he would now become the leader of the base. And then the economics of how do we make 2 shows at one time, and how that was going to all work. But that all came out of that one pitch meeting with Bonnie Hammer when she said, oh, no, we're going to do both. And we realized our idea was out the window.
But the idea became the
It became
two-parter
Lost City. And the switch from Atlantis being on Earth and flying away versus being in the Pegasus galaxy was all about the fact that Atlantis needed to stand alone from SG-1, and it felt like if they were operating without any, it's like, frankly, my problem with all the MCU, DCU stuff. Like, if you have two superheroes on the same planet, or in their case, 20 superheroes on the same planet, how do you do a story about one without acknowledging the other one exists, or even getting involved? Like, how do you do a Batman without Superman coming in and saving the day? It's like, where is the guy, So we really wanted Atlantis to be a fresh new adventure without the baggage of SG-1, without going, where are the Gould and all that stuff. So, and the replicators. So wanted to start with a clean slate, and the best way to do that was to kind of start fresh in a new galaxy.
Had Don already had conversations with you about his health at this point, or was it more of a situation where it was going to be a promotion for Jack, and so Hammond was going to phase out? Do you recall the sequence of that?
I mean, Don was a gentleman. Like, he was just the loveliest guy. And I think he had felt quite lucky to have had the opportunity that he did. I don't think he totally, he took it amazing and wasn't resentful at all. He was grateful for having had the chance. So
absolutely. And he returned for Atlantis, and he returned for SG-1. He was, and Continuum. He was always in the family, and 200.
And no, I mean, no, just to button your question, I mean, he really didn't make a whole deal out of his health issues. So
okay. So he was a trooper.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was never a guy looking for sympathy about things like that sort of thing.
Oh no. I wouldn't want to infer that he was. I would assume that he would want to keep you apprised of what was going on in his life, just as as much as any of the actors are. So
yes, we were aware.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel, or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.